The following video will be a historical account of the trail camera ban in Arizona. Sources like emails and data used in this video come from public record requests from the Arizona Game and Fish Department. Christian Hunters of America say, by approving this ban, the commission would take away an opportunity for an outdoor experience through wildlife interactions by banning the use of game cameras. This will have a negative effect on hunter retention and promoting the sport to young hunters, which we as a conservation organization are striving to increase each year. This would also have the impact or never allowing hunters who have a hunter license to participate in this outdoor experience also. Based on proposed language, a person who holds a hunting license could be banned for life by simply having a game camera in the field.
I'm the guy that got us all into this by making the original motion at the December meeting. The chairman of the board of the Helen Keller Institute. You've got to be deaf and blind not to see what's going on.
As this state changes, and trust me, everybody in this room knows it's not changing for the hunter's benefit.
Welcome to my channel, Harvestland TV. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can see future videos. We combat veteran suicide on this channel, so if anybody out there is having suicide ideation, please reach out and tell somebody and talk to them about it. This is a good thing to do. Okay? You didn't come into this world on your own. Please, don't try and leave it on your own. It's hard to believe that simply setting a trail camera on public land can now cost hunters not only thousands of dollars, but also their hunting rights as well. Hunters of America, I'm here to tell you about the great overreach of political rulemaking that has negatively impacted hunters. You may have heard about the recent decision in the 5-0 vote by the Arizona Game and Fish Commissioners to ban the use of trail cameras for taking wildlife, which means any hunter using any trail camera to take any kind of wildlife is illegal. However, for bird watchers, they're good to go. Regardless of your viewpoint on the use of trail cameras in hunting, whether it be for them or against them, we are all for hunting. However, for the Arizona Game and Fish, we cannot say the same, because it was truly never about fair chase or ethics. They made fools out of all of us hunters by getting us to debate and argue whether or not we think it is fair chase or ethical to use trail cameras in the pursuit of big game. Heck, it wasn't even about a significant threat to public health, peace, or safety. The following video will discuss Regina Cobb, a member of the House of Representatives and a firm hater of trail cameras, emails from the Arizona Game and Fish Department to the governor's office, why the rule was truly brought up to begin with, and how they broke the law to implement a new law, the true opinion of hunters in Arizona, and how this affects hunters across the United States. Nathaniel Nickel, attorney at law, who worked against the rulemaking, says it best. The administrative body can do whatever it wants so long as it follows the rules, including to change the rules, so long as it follows those rules for changing the rules. What you're about to see is a personal agenda and an unethical way of passing laws. When I first heard the rumor of Regina Cobb, a representative of the House, and Kurt Davis, the chairman of the commission, having a good relationship as friends, and that Regina Cobb called in a favor for the elimination of trail cameras, I kind of swept it under the rug. Because I didn't think all of the commissioners would jump on board for just a favor between friends, especially on a sensitive subject like trail cameras. So I went with the facts. I asked myself, what would make all the commissioners vote 5-0 for changing a rule that didn't conduct any research in the entire process, was voted down in 2018, and had so radically changed its original reason for opening the rulemaking? The only authorization they had was under Executive Order 2020-021C. In Mr. Gray's letter, he misquoted the executive order by referencing to B. Anyway, there had to be a significant threat to public health, peace, and safety in order for them to authorize the rulemaking, according to Executive Order 2020-021C. So what the Game and Fish should have done was prove whether or not setting up a trail camera is a significant threat to public health, peace, and safety. So let's try and prove that for them. Starting on December 22nd, 2017, a rancher who runs the Broken Arrow Cattle Company in Brenda, Arizona, reported hunters replacing their cameras on a state-owned waterhole. He claimed that it was in violation of game laws, which it isn't. Perhaps if those hunters were placing the cameras on the corrals he owns, then yes, but still, no threat of life or safety was reported. Next, on August 18th, 2017, near Rattlesnake Crater, we have a report of game cameras being stolen. Still, no threat of life was reported. Next, on September 4th, 2017, we have another report of someone stealing a trail camera, with no threat of life being reported. Next, on November 26, 2018, we have someone calling in about a baited site and trail cameras. However, it was salt and no violation was observed by the officer. Again, no threat of life. Finally, on January 5th, 2021, we have a rancher in Silver Bells, Arizona, reporting a hunter for threatening to shoot his cows because the hunter thinks the rancher is destroying his trail cameras. This was on state trust land, and the rancher does not like trail cameras. However, there is no significant threat of life. However, it is the only source of actual conflict we can find since 2009 across the whole state. That's right, folks, 5 reports since 2009. Does that sound like a disaster, a significant threat to public health, peace, or safety, or any other catastrophic event? No. Still think this was about fair chase? By the Executive Order 2020-021C, this would not constitute as a significant threat to the public's health. Next, let's see exactly how the Arizona Game and Fish went about this request for rulemaking. Director Ty Gray sent a letter on October 27, 2020 to Charles Podolak, the Natural Resource Policy Advisor for the Office of the Governor, stating, and I quote, "The use of trail cameras pose an increasing threat of breach of peace as social media surrounding the use of trail cameras indicate potential for violent confrontation between those who support their use and those opposed to such methods. Mr. Gray requested permission to pursue rulemaking as authorized under Executive Order 2020-021C, which allows an agency, the Game and Fish Department, to enact any rule if there is any significant threat to public health, peace, and safety." Mr. Podolak responded on November 9, 2020 and complied with the request to initiate rulemaking to regulate trail cameras based on, and I quote, "an increasing threat of breach of peace posed by trail cameras used for the take of wildlife and to better align with fair chase principles." From this point on, the topic of banning trail cameras only revolved around the principles of fair chase and had absolutely nothing to do with public safety. The reason Governor Ducey passed the executive order is because government regulations should be as limited as possible. Burdensome regulations inhibit job growth and economic development. Estimates show that these eliminations saved job creators $53.9 million in operating costs in 2019 and a total of $134.3 million in savings since 2015. Tell me, how is banning trail cameras not a burdensome regulation? It causes law-abiding citizens to face thousands of dollars in fines and take away their right to hunt and fish. It affects the way outfitters operate and takes away community fishing licenses, which will all impact the department's income by hundreds of thousands of dollars. That inhibits economic development. That inhibits job growth. That is not making regulations as limited as possible. Still think this was about fair chase? Governor Ducey, congratulations. You got played at your own executive orders. In the Marine Corps, we call that good initiative, poor judgment. They broke the law by taking advantage of Executive Order 2020-021C and ARS 41-1038, which requires a threat to public safety to add rulemaking. Mr. Podolak's response was literally to better align with fair chase principles and to never talk about public health, peace, and safety again throughout the rulemaking. This is a gross political overreach. It establishes a law that is burdensome on our exercise of property and freedom, which was the whole point for Governor Ducey signing the executive order in the first place. You see, Mr. Gray and Mr. Podolak knew they had to get around Executive Order 2020-021C, which requires a significant threat to public health, peace, or safety. So they manipulated the language to benefit their agenda. Statute ARS 41-1038 states that an agency may not adopt any new rule that would increase existing regulatory restraints or burdens on the free exercise of property rights or the freedom to engage in otherwise lawful business or occupation unless the rule is either of the following: necessary to protect public health and safety, or the immediate need to address or prevent an outbreak of an infectious disease or disaster or any other catastrophic event. Therefore, Mr. Gray and Mr. Podolak created a narrative revolved around fear that would allow them to initiate rulemaking and abuse the executive order. Still think this was about fair chase? I did not have a connection with trail cameras or Regina Cobb. So I researched a little bit more, and what I found was daunting. Back in 2018, the Game and Fish Commission tried to ban trail cameras. Well, guess whose name was on the list in support of the trail camera ban in 2018? That's right, Representative Regina Cobb. She was one of 2 people who were for banning trail cameras. Let's see what she had to say about it back then, in 2018. And I quote, "I am very disappointed that it was not passed through. We have spoke on the fair chase issue for the last 2 years, and I felt so strongly about this issue that I had prepared to run a bill." 1 second there, hold up. That means she was going to propose a bill to the House of Representatives to outlaw trail cameras and other hunting practices. Alright, let's keep going with the quote. Alright, beginning quote again. "I was assured that you would take care of this within organizational procedures." Hold up a second. Let me just pause one moment again. Who assured her of that? She says, "I was assured that you would take care of this." Why was she so sure that this was going to be taken care of? Did she have some behind the scenes influence going on? Whew. All right, let's continue. They would take care of this within organizational procedures in the department, and there would not be a need for legislation. There you go. She was trying to push law in the House, bills in the House to outlaw trail cameras in 2018. I would hope you that voted against the fair chase regulation would reconsider your position. So she's talking to the people who voted against it to reconsider. So essentially she is threatening legislative power to take care of trail cameras. The commission was split in 2018 for banning trail cameras 2-2. It all came down to Commissioner Sparks in his statement, and I quote, "He has some friends who have disabled children who use trail cameras on water, and he will vote no on this item." That's page 35. Commissioner Davis stated he doesn't see a benefit going forward with the current motion, so he will withdraw his motion, page 35 as well. She really tells us what she values in her next statement in December of 2020. "Thank you so much for revisiting the rules surrounding trail cameras. As an avid hunter and legislator, I applaud your vision for fair chase." Wait a minute. Wasn't this supposed to be about public safety though? Anyway, let's continue. "I support," beginning the quote again, "I support either a complete ban or a seasonal ban of game cameras on water. I have collected and sent the past commissioners photos of mine and other fair chase hunters who were appalled at this practice." I'm curious. Wait a second. I'm curious to know what those photos contained. Anyway, I gotta stay on topic. Stay on topic, Hubbard. Over the past few years, there has been legislation proposed that could have been detrimental to all hunters. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to that. That could have been detrimental to all hunters. She's saying this in 2020. Notice how she hinted towards her bill that she proposed in 2018? And in 2018, she just said that she was going to pass a bill through the House. Whew.
You people, regardless of what side you're on, are the ones that are going to keep this area from turning into an Oregon or some of the other states here. And if we split ourselves, then we have done the best service for the people who do not want hunting and fishing in this state. And don't forget that. We've got to stick together.
Still think this was about fair chase? The legislators brought the legislation forward as a response to their many constituents with concerns for the abuse of game cameras. The legislation was well intended, but did not address the unintended consequences. I would hate to see this happen this session. And I feel the commission is in the best position to make these decisions. You have been appointed as the experts. Now get a load of this next thing that she has to say. Buckle up here, ladies and gentlemen. I would say to the guys that are crying, learn how to hunt, not kill. Wow. Did you hear that, hunters? I guess in her eyes, you're just a bunch of crybabies. Amazing, isn't it? Most of the guides are God-fearing Republicans, by the way. This led me to checking out her Facebook page. I couldn't find a photo of her actually hunting. In fact, she had way more photos of alive animals than of ones she's actually hunted. So she based this atrocity off of 5 reports in the last 20 years? If this was such a significant threat, then why would anyone let their disabled child use a trail camera? Anyone can find this information, by the way. Just go to www.azgfd.com/agency/commission/meeting minutes / and scroll down to June 8th, 2018 meeting. Then control find Regina or Cobb and it'll go straight to page 34. Still think this was about fair chase? Governor Ducey's whole campaign was about eliminating regulations because Arizona is primarily a Republican state that believes we don't need to be suffocated by burdensome regulations. However, in some people's eyes, they eliminated 3 rules so they could implement the trail camera ban. Funny thing is, these rules were not burdensome and they promoted economic development. So they literally added a rule to negatively impact the economy and took away rules to further negatively impact the state. But hey, they got rid of these 3 rules in the book. So that's what you call a win in politics, I guess. Their economic impact research consisted of the following, and I quote, "The department will incur costs related to the cost of rulemaking and implementing rule changes, administrative training, forms, etc. Therefore, the commission has determined that the benefits of rulemaking outweigh any cost." How convenient. It outweighs any cost because that cost will be on the shoulders of Arizona hunters and taxpayers. The commission anticipates the rulemaking will result in an overall benefit to persons regulated by the rule. How nice of them. The commission anticipates the rulemaking will result in no impact to political subdivisions of this state, private and public employment in businesses, agencies, or political subdivisions or state revenues. Really, how so? They never considered the outfitters who utilize these cameras for their private business. They never considered the business that sell trail cameras in Arizona. How about all the SIM cards and batteries the trail cameras need? That will negatively impact the state revenue and business alone. It outweighs any cost because in their eyes, they got millions of dollars for their department and will raise tag prices to cover their costs. Let me guess, they'll blame global warming, climate change now, for having to limit tags and raise their prices. The commission graciously allowed 2 periods of comments during January 1st to February 1st of 2021. This comment period represented 1,200 hunters opposing the ban on trail cameras completely, and 832 supported the ban on trail cameras. The commission decided to open a second period of comments where 1,019 hunters opposed the ban, with only 71 for the ban on trail cameras. Those are some epic numbers right there, representing the majority of hunters and how they feel about rulemaking. And boy, were they right. Still think this was about fair chase? However, all of that commenting was pointless to the commission because they had all typed out their speeches beforehand. Heck, one commissioner decided to give us a history lesson on trapping beavers. Not sure how that applied to all this. The department led people to believe that the whole time that it was solely about fair chase and ethics. So hunter rivaled against hunter. We argued with each other and debated about how to be the most ethical hunter. This is exactly what they wanted. The proof is in their words alone. And I quote, "Buckle up, people, buckle up. This is going to get nasty." And I quote from the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, Title 12, Natural Resource, Chapter 4, Game and Fish Commission. The Commission recognized the need to further evaluate regulatory measures pertaining to the use of trail cameras as they relate to the take of wildlife and the fair chase hunting ethic, and proposes to amend the rule to prohibit the use of trail cameras or images from a trail camera for the purpose of taking or aiding in the take of wildlife, or locating wildlife for the purpose of taking or aiding in the take of wildlife. This change is in response to customer comments received by the department. What customers are they exactly talking about here? Because from the only data that was actually done in this whole rulemaking process represented the majority of your customers being against this rulemaking. It's crystal clear what customers they are exactly talking about when I quote yet again from the same resource. As hunters represent a smaller percentage of the overall population, growing segments of society are questioning the validity of hunting, including its benefits, how it is conducted, and if it should continue as a legal activity. If it should continue as a legal activity. Wow, I cannot believe the Game and Fish Commission would make such a repulsive comment. Still think this was about fair chase?
You've got to be deaf and blind not to see what's going on.
In their eyes, we, the hunters, are small. We do not represent a community. We can be easily manipulated to fit their personal agendas. Over and over, I keep seeing the same narrative within the hunting community. We need to cater to the majority of people who do not hunt. We need to make our hunting ethical in their eyes. However, they do all their hunting in the grocery store, and that's all they care about. So why do I, as a hunter, need to play by their rules when they don't even understand the art of hunting?
Everybody in this room knows it's not changing for the hunter's benefit.
I watched the whole meeting where the Game and Fish Commission voted on the ban. I listened to their words. It was full of emotion and zero facts. Commissioner Todd Geeler dramatically recalled a baby elk stuck in a mud hole like it was the worst day of his life. Has he never seen a deer or an elk caught in barbed wire? Maybe we should make barbless wire mandatory for all ranchers. While we're at it, let's just take our animals with cameras and not guns anymore. That seems to be their long-term goals anyway. They all had their speeches typed out, which meant they had their minds made up beforehand. It didn't matter what hunters had to say. They made it seem like it was an insignificant rule change, like it wasn't the end of the world. Let's just deal with it. Let it go, guys. That's because they broke the law and they wanted people to bicker over fair chase and not focus on their law breaking. This rule should be removed. It should be fought and stricken. Kelly and Lyons law firm tells us litigation will follow and the rule will be stricken. I thank God that we have men and women who are willing to put up a fight against this, to gather around and put our differences aside and realize that we all may hunt differently, but we still want to be able to hunt in the future. Hunters across America, though it is Arizona today, tomorrow it will be your state. We cannot sit idly by while corruption overtakes our laws, to ethically take animals and to even fish. The Christian Hunters of America can be found on Facebook. They have been the main driving force in discussions over the trail camera ban. Please, go show your support to them. Josiah Scott has a GoFundMe set up for lawyer fees to combat this rulemaking, which will be going to court. That link is in the description below. The only way for us to overcome these challenges is to have control over the commissioners and hold them accountable. I don't usually make political videos, but I'm on fire for the Lord, and this was a pathetic overreach of government, a government which was established in biblical truth. I take veterans hunting and fishing to combat veteran suicide. I use a trail camera only to determine if I want to spend time scouting an area. I still have to locate the animal, close the distance, and make a well-aimed shot on the animal that will kill it. A trail camera does not aid in my ability to make an ethical spot, stalk, and shot. Take a stand against this rulemaking and only take a knee to Jesus, not men and their political schemes. God bless you.